Hello, hello, and welcome back to another episode of Podcast Assemble, a show where you come for your regular geeky download. My name's Tommy, and I'm delighted to be back in 2022 with my friend and co-host from across the pond. It's DL.
What up, man? And we are actually across the pond this time.
We are.
Multiple ponds.
So many ponds in this.
I think.
Yeah, well, I'm the one across the pond this time. It's not necessarily you for once, it's me.
But there are ponds separating us, many ponds.
There are. I think we must be the podcast with the most diverse places for recording ever. Like, we're just constantly changing and moving, and at least the setup's changing every time.
Not. There's some people, over in the Middle East podcasting about something with somebody in Antarctica, I'm sure. It's a big wide world,
Oh, man, I wish that was me.
Really? I do not want to be in either
dude,
of those
it's
places.
cold enough here. It's cold enough here. Oh my god! Like
fair enough.
It's like 0 degrees right now. We've got all the heating on in my house. Like, I am not used to this. I have completely lost my ability to adapt to English weather.
So you're like, what is the temperature over there?
Like, it's 0 degrees right now. It's
Wow.
the sun isn't even fully up yet. You can only see me because my lights are on.
Yeah.
The sun usually comes up at fully up by like 8:30 at this time in winter.
Yeah.
So like it stays dark. It's cold. Like through the day, it rains a lot. It's great to be a northerner.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're used to this. You remember it.
The
surely,
North
but
remembers.
you remember.
No, I don't.
But surely there's and by the way, there's gonna be time codes. You can skip this stuff, guys, if you want to, and get straight to the main stuff.
Oh, absolutely. There'll be time codes for where we're going to be skipping around to.
Yeah, surely you have something that you're back home, and there's this thing that you're excited about. There's something quaint or nostalgic that now that you're back in the north.
But enough. Well, the best bit about coming home always is that my parents have the best dogs. So we go for walks, like these crazy long walks, like up on the moors, which I'm pretty sure has some sort of relevance to Game of Thrones somewhere. But like, they're the best, and they're just like crazy. So they have like Springer Spaniels. I don't know if you know anything about Springer Spaniels. They're traditionally hunting dogs, and they have all the energy in the world.
Yeah, they're
so
bouncy.
like they literally, oh my god, they're bouncy, and they just like flying around. I constantly keep telling my parents to be like, hey, maybe you should, get some slightly less energetic dogs. Nah, never gonna happen. What's been happening with you? How was your New Year's, buddy?
I was good. Got the COVID. I've been initiated.
Got the Rona. Coronavirus.
I'm a part of the club. I found out what the fuss is about. Yeah, it's not.
I remember last time we talked, you said you were like that meme, the Pirates of the Caribbean meme, where you were dodging it from every angle. Whereas now,
and then I threw myself into a cesspool. So, and literally got in a fight. Maybe the guy that punched me gave me COVID.
Oh, damn! Imagine that'd be the worst. Double whammy.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. I
like the old
joke
Star Trek
about it because no one was
punch.
actually injured. Yeah, all I got was COVID and a bit of a shiner.
Oh.
I did look a little bit worse for wear on the 2nd of January.
I think you sent me a picture of you with COVID and with a shiner, and I was like, damn.
At least you got a tan. But
at least you got a tan. Well, like I saw a new meme the other day, and it was you're in the Matrix when that first time when Neo does bullet time and he's like dodging bullets. Like that's what it is now for people not getting. I've like touch all the wood. You know what I mean? Like I've managed to avoid it somehow.
You're gonna get COVID. Honestly, now I feel like the lucky person. I'm through with this. I can live my life like without thinking about it for a solid 2 months.
Well, not to get political here, but I've now had 3 jabs. I'm a threefer. So apparently, once you've had the 3rd one, it doesn't hit you as hard. Apparently, this is what I'm told. This is from my UK friends. So I'm good to go.
People have said that about every single thing. I don't know, man. I was sick. It was not fun. I'll just leave it at that. But
well, look, if you were that sick, that must have meant that you managed to get through some quality content.
I did.
I wonder
good.
What have you been up to?
There, dude. Look at this.
I know. Get into a segue in there.
Transition. I did, man.
Hey, mate, we've been doing this away over a year. We should be at least fairly good at this by now.
Speak for yourself, mate. This is just a big stumble fest. It's a big
stumble door over here.
I'm just like walking through the mist, grasping at straws. I did watch a lot of stuff, and I had my mom over, so she got me watching some things I wouldn't have normally watched, which was
awesome.
Cool.
What did you watch?
Well, I got her into The Witcher, so she like she basically really, really like streamlined, binged it, and caught up. And so then we watched
even the first season.
She went through the first season on the plane, like half of it, and then for the first.
So
like,
just by the way, before you carry on there, I have one episode of the second season left. So please stop before you get to any of those spoilers.
Oh, you're annoying. I thought you'd be done.
I know. Next week we'll talk about it. Next week.
Well, I don't even remember the last episode. I just won't spoil anything. But point being, we did watch it, and she caught up and watched like the back half of that one together, which was good. And then she got me watching the Beatles documentary on Disney Plus. It's so good.
I started watching that, and we got half an hour in, and I didn't really enjoy the style, the storytelling style. It was very like janky, and I was a bit off. But I mean, we were only half an hour in, and the episode's like 2 hours.
I don't know. I loved it, but I guess like I'm a massive Beatles fan. Are you like one of those people? That are like, I like the Stones.
Oh, I do love the Stones, but I love both. I can't say one or the other.
It's like a weird thing. Like people are either Beatles fans or Stones fans. I'm like, I don't not like the Stones, but I just don't even think they're even close to as good as the Beatles. But
that's your own opinion, buddy.
To each their own. Anyway, I really liked it. Yeah, I really liked it. It was just really cool and like just extremely impressive to watch these guys go through their creative process, and like very, very like ironic because you see them like they just don't realize how good they are, you know? Yeah. They're like comparing themselves to like, you know, they're not even comparing. They're talking about their like idols, which are like contemporaries of the time, right? Whether it's like Clapton or whoever, like as if like they're just shitters compared to them. And it's like, dude, you got what you guys are doing right now as you like all go through your creative process, making these crazy hits. Like it's so shocking to watch like how easy it looks, you know? Anyway.
Well, I really
enjoyed
it. Obviously, you know, I work for a large tech company, and one of the products we do is all around audio. And I was speaking to one of the guys who works just solely in audio, and he was saying that the company who were producing this actually created a whole new piece of software for this because, interestingly, it's apparently really hard to tell the difference between John and Paul on like recording. So like you literally couldn't tell the difference. So when they were doing the subtitles and stuff or whatever, they were like, who's talking? So they had to create this incredible piece of AI which could pick up which was which just by little cues in their like vocals. I find that really interesting.
Wow. I could usually tell who it was by the singing. But when they were talking,
well, just when they were talking, like when they were sat talking and stuff, more than that than the singing. So that's good then.
It's got me on a Beatles kick, and I've been listening to a bunch more. Chernobyl is another one that I just happened. I've been exploring binge because like I've underutilized it, and there's a lot of good stuff on there.
So for anyone who's not in Australia, binge is like our kind of HBO knockoff, kind of.
Yeah, it's like got the licensing for a lot of HBO stuff. Not all of it, but a lot of it.
It's not quite as good. We don't get the movies day and date like HBO Max does.
Yeah, that's true. And then, like, I'll give you a shot to tell me what you watch on the plane eventually, Thomas. I promise you.
No. It's been a while, man. We haven't caught up in ages, so it's interesting that you've managed to get through so much content.
Well, and then I was just ill. So it was kind of like...
Oh, yeah.
But I got through Book of Boba Fett, like, the first half of the first episode. Honestly, I fell asleep. Not because it was bad. It was just kind of like, wasn't super exciting to me, but I plan on watching that, and I'm starting the new Expanse season, the final one on Amazon, as I start the new Expanse book, the final book in the series. So I've been a busy boy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very
nice.
How about you? How is Expanse then? Because I know it's one that you said to stick with, because I genuinely, like I told you, I watched first 1 or 2 episodes and I just did not vibe with it.
Well, I think like the first 2 seasons aren't as good because they were on Sci-Fi. We've talked about this, but I'm a big fan of just the writing. And while I don't think the show has nailed every character and every kind of I guess theme, it's done enough. It's true enough to the books that I still enjoy it. And I know the books really well, so I can understand like how if you didn't read the books, you might be not as into it because. I just don't think they nailed all the castings. They nailed enough of them, but they didn't nail all of them.
Okay, interesting.
But I'm enjoying it.
Didn't someone get cancelled in it? one of the actors got cancelled.
twice. Well, it got
Oh,
canceled
wow.
off Sci-Fi. And then Amazon picked it up, and now Amazon it's not that Amazon has canceled it. They said they're not making new seasons. There's like whatever the fuck the difference is there. But there's a big time gap in the books, like a 30-year one. So like they could easily just be like, you know what, we're gonna wait. We need to age them up, and then or even go sell it to someone else like Netflix for the next part because they've already done multi-production or multi-distributors like between Sci-Fi and Amazon.
I might try and get into that. I've tried. There's just so much good content, man. There is so much good content out there right now. You mentioned Book of Boba Fett. I've watched the first 2 episodes of that too. It's a bit slow for me. Like, I just don't think I'm that invested, like, in the Star Wars TV shows in general. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I eventually end up watching them and going, oh yeah, that's okay. That's pretty good. But I'm never like, wow, this is Hawkeye.
Well, I haven't even finished Hawkeye, to be honest. I've
really?
only watched 1 episode. So I'm excited
I think you'll enjoy it.
to dig into that. Yeah, no, I agree, man. You know what was boring about that to me was like it felt like Boba Fett was like very just like uncool. Like he was just discovering things as he went. Like, oh, they're not paying me. I need them to pay me. It's like, dude, I thought you would like know how this works. You were like the badass bounty hunter. Like, why are you surprised by this? Like, you should be more all-knowing almost of this world. You know. Kind of seems like a toddler who's just becoming a gangster. Like
the second episode doesn't help. I tell you, I was.
Really?
It's more backstory. The second episode is complete backstory. So I'm like, I just. Anyway, other things I've been up to, man. We had a bit of a binge of random older movies, and one I thought I'd mention because I think it came up when we were talking about potentially slotting it into our overview of movies we should have seen or old school sci-fi movies. Was a movie called 12 Monkeys. With Bruce Willis.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I mean, like, it's weird. Like, I think at the time initially when I watched it was like, that's pretty crap. But since I've been reflecting on it and I'm like, there are so many possibilities to that ending. Like, I don't know. I just don't know. Like, I liked it, but
I told me like to watch it. I remember it, and I don't really remember how it ends. I just remember it was abstract.
It's really abstract, and it's like it's almost like it's almost like a circle. Like he has to go back in time. It's good, man. It's weird. I'd like to talk about it sometime. Actually, I think we should. It can come into one of our sci-fi movies agendas that we have so many different things going on in the background. It could be one of those.
Is there an insane asylum? Is like a big part of that?
There
movie?
is with Brad Pitt.
Okay, yes, I'm remembering the right thing. Okay,
yeah. Because Brad Pitt's in it, and he's a star. I'm not gonna ruin it for anyone who's not seen it, but he's a big part of it. And it's almost like what are we supposed to be watching? What's a misdirect? What's a red herring?
Yeah.
It's
like a
good,
big
man.
stoner.
It's interesting. Yeah. Well, I couldn't watch it. I couldn't watch it after Jay. I'd be very confused. We actually watched. I went to Melbourne for New Year's Eve with a couple of buddies, and we watched the Don't Look Up movie with Leo DiCaprio. You know, the one that's everywhere at the moment.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
What did you think?
I thought it was good. I thought it was like a little on the nose, but it was good.
Yeah. It didn't hold back, did it?
No, I mean, like, it wasn't subtle.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. But I
I liked it, man.
The whole time, yeah. So
it was super interesting that they were just
critics aren't loving it, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah. It was super interesting. They were just like, we're fucking the world, and we're not doing anything about it. So, and all the politicians are saying, just don't think about it.
It's a great satire, like in that sense.
Big time.
I think that it wasn't a subtle satire, but like at this point, like maybe that's the point, right? Like,
we watched it with what's the word I'm looking for? A very strong-willed American friend of ours who was absolutely digging the satire. She was just loving the fact that it was just tearing on American politics so hard, and how representative it was of the times at the moment, how people are just so easily swayed by the media and by stupid politicians. I was like, damn, this is crazy. And at the same time, I was watching a TV show that is on binge as well, funnily enough, about QAnon, and oh my god, like that stuff is nuts.
Yeah. Look, I think that like it's unfair to just say that it's like even America. It's like it was making fun of just like social media culture, all governments that are just ignoring it. I mean, the American part, like it seems like what's her name was meant to be Trump.
Oh, big, oh,
A
absolutely.
woman version of Trump, Meryl Streep, which she killed it, by the way.
She was great. So was Jonah. I thought Jonah Hill was fantastic in it.
Oh my god, what did he say? At one point, he's like, "Up the Molly, it's coming up," or something. I forget what the context is there, but I was just like, that was so random. I cracked up. He's like, "Oh, you want to come in?"
Jonah.
Then just shuts the door on her.
Yeah.
And
then he just throws the biscuits at them while they're sat waiting for the thing to finish. It's so true, man.
Yeah. How about what's the guy's name? Timothy Chalamet, who I also watched The King. I don't know if you've seen
me
that.
too. I saw that over years as well.
Which I enjoyed, but also he kind of started to bug me by the end.
Hang on, I haven't seen The King. I misspoke. I actually watched The Last Duel. Did we talk about this last time we spoke? It was The Last Duel with...
You watched The Last Duel? I didn't see it.
Yeah, it's Ben Affleck and it's Matt
it's a
Damon.
good cast.
It's really good, man. It's weird. Okay, right. I can understand why it didn't do well at the box office. It is, it's an old-timey film around knights and chivalry and has a pretty extensive rape scene in it, which isn't great. But I kind of like the way the storytelling is done. So it's told from Matt Damon's perspective. It's told from Adam Driver's perspective, and then it's told from, I've forgotten her name, the female lead's perspective as well.
Yeah.
So it does it in sections, so it shows what he thinks, and what she thinks.
And it's like, where's the truth?
But it's not even about the truth. It's about like how. It's about how the politicians or the knights in that world are swayed by the people around them and what people believe, and how the religion comes to it, and how the woman's perspective is completely irrelevant regardless. And then at the end of it, if her husband is ends up being wrong and dies, then she gets killed as well. It's like, what is happening?
Yeah, it's just an absurd situation.
It's really interesting. I liked it. It's long.
Yeah.
It's nearly 3 hours.
All the movies I like are long. It's just the way of the world at this point.
By the time we got to the third rape scene, I was like, can we please just skip this? Well, they showed the rape scene 3 times. That's what I'm saying. They show the same story 3 times.
Oh wow. So I was gonna say, you watch a rape scene, it shouldn't feel good. That's the point. Rape should be represented as some terrible thing, but maybe watching it 3 times.
100%.
Bit gratuitous.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I understand it because it shows it from the different perspective. It's like, from Matt Damon's perspective, he's the husband, and I can't remember if he actually sees it or he just comes back to it. So you only see it twice. He comes back to it, and then you see it from Adam Driver's perspective, who's doing it, which is like, he thinks he's all righteous and this is all what she wants and blah blah blah. And you see it from her perspective, and she's like, this is horrible. This is horrifying.
Does he play the dickhead really well?
He does. I mean, we've talked about Adam Driver. I think he's fantastic. He's just, great actor. And last thing I've been up to actually is, so one book you've talked about on this podcast is The Name of the Wind, and you talked about it a little while ago. It's actually a really cool book, and it is actually one I started to read roughly between 7 and 10 years ago-ish, maybe. And it's really funny because you lent me the book, and I've read probably, I don't know, like an eighth of it. And I left it back in Sydney, and I flew back knowing that I had the book here. And I said to my partner, I was like, hey, can you just take a picture of the page I'm up to and send it to me so I can, just open a book of that page? I was on the exact same page 8 years ago when I was reading
No
it.
way.
How crazy is that?
Weird. That is so
I was like,
weird.
what is happening?
That's like a glitch in the Matrix or something, man.
Unbelievable. And I even genuinely
wild.
remember, at the time when I was reading in Sydney, I was like, I couldn't quite remember what was going on. But as soon as I opened it here on that page, I was like, oh, I remember exactly how I got to this point.
Yeah, of course. That's wild.
Crazy, right? Oh,
are you enjoying it? How far are you? Still early?
I'm still pretty early. He's still telling the story of how. Well, he's basically a child in the story at the moment. The story he's telling.
Oh, so it hasn't. So he's like, the real shit hasn't kicked off yet.
No, not yet at all. And I think that's probably why.
So yeah, it's very early. I still enjoyed the intro, but there's some shit that's about to kick off.
No, I do like it, and I like how he's introducing how he learned all of the different elements of the world and the name of the wind and all this stuff. I enjoyed it, man. It's good.
I mean, I think that's all I've watched. That was a lot and read. What do you?
Well, there's been plenty of news going on in the background. If you'd like to,
it's so funny you say that because I have literally zero news. I was looking.
Really?
I was like, there's nothing happening. So of course, I've just missed everything as is tradition.
Well, I've got a few. Some of these might be a little older than usual from our perspective because they're over the last couple of weeks. But hell, let's talk about them anyway. I've got a little list of things that I think you're gonna enjoy. So I'm gonna start with the devastating news. The devastating news
Debo?
that the Morbius movie's been pushed until April 1st.
My God, dude.
How do you feel about that?
I just wonder if, as even though vampires are eternal and everlasting, will Jared Leto still be around by the time this movie is released? Will he still be in acting? Will he be,
He's surely ready to be cancelled by now.
30 seconds
no, I think
to Mars, like album by
it's
then?
very interesting the time frames they've put on this for it to be pushed back, because a lot of people are speculating that since Spider-Man did so well, could they be trying to squeeze in a little cameo from one of the other Spider-Men at the end? Like a couple of months gives you enough time to film a cheeky cameo.
That'd be pretty absurd, I think.
It would be ridiculous, but
but
we don't know which universe it's in.
Have they just purposely not said that?
No, they haven't said anything. They've just pushed the movie date, so we'll find out.
Have they purposely not put it into any kind of cinematic universe?
Well, that's the problem, because you assumed it was in the same universe as the Venom film, right? Because he makes the joke about being Venom. But in the trailer, there is a picture of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man in the background. And it's got to be in a Spider-Man universe.
Oh, I didn't realize that there was a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man in the background of...
It's just an image on the wall, and it has murderer.
That's pretty significant, though.
Yeah, well, big time. But there's been talk this week of Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. More Andrew Garfield wanted to come back and reprise the role at some point, so... why
Sony
not?
Would love it. Yeah.
Sony would love it. And he was done dirty by those films. We actually had a piece of correspondence this week from friend of the show, Jacob, who actually said a lot of, he listened to the pod, our last pod, thanks, friend of the show, Jacob. He messaged and said that he didn't watch any of the Amazing Spider-Man stuff, so all the stuff with Andrew Garfield went straight over his head.
To be honest, I only watched the first one, and I don't even remember it.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, surely you remember the whole saving Gwen Stacy. Not saving Gwen Stacy thing.
Wasn't that in the second one?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know that was a thing. But I just it wasn't that hard for me to add. Do the math.
Yeah. Take this, the most iconic scene from pretty much any comic book. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Spider-Man, did you hear that it's now officially Sony's biggest ever movie? It's hit $1 billion at the box office. It's basically keeping cinemas open at this point.
Okay, love to hear that. Good for our Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's taken over a bunch of movies. It's I think it had the highest opening week of all time or something ridiculous.
It's a good movie.
It's great, man.
It's a good movie, and were you just saying? Did I hear you correctly that the Gwen Stacy death thing is actually an iconic part of the comics?
Yep,
I didn't know that. Okay,
it's huge. It's one of his defining characteristics in the comics. And there's a bunch of running jokes through comics that it used to be that only certain characters stayed dead in comic books, which was Bucky Barnes, who we all know came back. There was Uncle Ben, who obviously has not come back yet, and Gwen Stacy's one of them. But then she's had weird times where she's come back, or she's been a robot or some shit. So
a robot.
I don't know, man. I imagine I'll bring her back somewhere or another. She came back, obviously, as Spider-Gwen, or whatever they call her in the comic books these days, so she's been back. Well, anyway, a couple of other bits of news I've curated for you I think you'll like super quickly. Well, did you hear this week that the Peacemaker show is coming to HBO Max on the 13th of January? That's so soon. That's tomorrow for you?
That is tomorrow for me.
Tomorrow.
A day away from my birthday.
That's so soon. I can't wait.
Peacemaker for my birthday.
Mate, for your birthday, you're going to have to do something special. You're going to have to do something special for the pod for your birthday. I don't know what you're going to do, but you're going to have to do something.
Okay. Duly noted. And then twice noted.
Twice noted. That's a good throwback to an old pod. That's coming out soon. We also had the first images from season 3 of Umbrella Academy. Did you spot those?
I didn't. That's exciting. Man, there's so much shit coming out. This is exciting.
Yeah,
man.
that looks cool.
Very
so
exciting.
this time it's because in that show, if anyone hasn't seen Umbrella Academy, it's a weird, wacky show with these 7 kids who were raised by a random old dude because they all have special powers. But in the last season, they kind of went, not spoilers for the show, they went back in time and came back forward, and the future they came back to isn't the same one that they grew up in. And yeah, these images of the Umbrella Academy are 7 new peoples who I'm assuming are this variation future versions of the kids from the Umbrella Academy.
Oh, so it wasn't even like our main people. It was
Yeah, I mean, it's very minimal. Like, it's cool. It just has like a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and they're all different to what we're used to. And the last one looks pretty heavily scarred. I can't really explain it to you. It's an interesting set of pictures. I genuinely really like this program, so I'm excited for it to come back.
Me too. I'm gonna look at what you're talking about right now.
I just texted to you in the background. Well, anyway, speaking of superhero TV shows and out there superhero TV shows which subvert expectations, did you hear this week we finally got a confirmation of when the new season of The Boys season 3 is coming out? And I'm super pumped for this.
When's it coming out?
Well, I don't know. It could be the American way of doing it. It says 6/3/22, so I'm assuming it's June 3rd, 22. So that's super exciting, man.
100% the American way. Yeah, I'm excited, man. That show just constantly subverting expectations. Very few tropey things about it, other than Starlight and Old Mate. But
Huey,
other than that,
Starlight
man,
and Huey, man.
I was never really like lulled into a sense of like I know what's gonna happen, and when I did,
No, never.
Think I knew I was very wrong.
Well, goddamn, there's the goddamn Homelander. There's like a little teaser of the series that's out at the moment, and he looks like he is breaking up. Like there's like a little twitch in his eye. Like he looks like he's holding it together. Like he's doing.
That guy plays it so
well.
good.
Anthony Starr. He's doing like a TV shoot for like the 7 or whatever, and like. Well, interestingly, the 7's obviously gonna have to break up a little bit because most of them from the first series
aren't they all dead?
Well, most of them are, yeah. Well, like most of the originals, or at least they've been kicked out. Do you remember both? I've forgotten
Flash and
the speedster guy. I've completely forgotten his name. That's terrible.
Yeah.
And the Deep, because obviously the Deep can't come back because Did you remember the whale scene in the last one where they murdered the whale? He surely can't come back.
So good.
But they've obviously got.
He's just constantly the butt of all the jokes.
Oh man, I love that guy. They've obviously got Jensen Ackles coming in. That's gonna be. That's just one of those shows that like I can not think about for 12 months and then it comes around and I'm like the most hyped for it.
I wonder if the comic books are this good throughout the whole run, because if so, it's gonna be a fun.
That's a good question. I've actually got the first graphic novel, so I've got that back in Sydney. I haven't got around to reading it. It's ready to go. It's there and ready. But apparently they're very different. There's a lot of they made a lot of changes to the TV show, which I'll find out eventually. Well, did you hear this week? Final bit of news before we soiree on. If you guys have heard anything and you want us to talk about it on the show, any news, hit us up. You can find us at Podcast Assemble on Instagram or the podcastassemble@gmail.com. Final bit of news. One of the movies we were most excited for last year in 2021, or at least I was, I don't know about you, was The Eternals, which it's been announced is coming to Disney Plus in February, end of February. How do you feel about that? Are you going to rewatch it?
I will not.
You're not?
I think that movie, the more I sit back and see good Marvel movies, I'm like, that was a bad movie.
Well,
like, that was like it was not very good.
Speaking of, on my flight back to the UK, I started to watch Shang-Chi and I turned it off after 30 minutes. I was like, I just don't care about this movie. I watched the bus scene. I was like, yeah, great. That's the only good bit that I want to watch. And then I turned it off. I was like, nope, don't care.
Yeah, I mean, another passable movie.
Very average.
Shang-Chi was like, Shang-Chi was very average and like dull compared to the Eternals. The Eternals was like at least high in its games, which you can hear us talk about that in our Eternals podcast.
We've talked about the Eternals. If you want to hear us go on about the Eternals, please go back and listen to our episode. We talked about it about 4 or 5 episodes ago, and we get into some pretty deep stuff on it, right?
I think so. It was pretty heady. It was kind of one of those meta episodes by DL.
DL's absolute favorite episodes. Yeah. Well, anyway,
I love a little meta.
Segueing then nicely into our main topic this week, from a film that we were super excited for and movies that we are going to be super excited for. Do you want to give us the premise for what we're talking about this week?
Yeah. The premise is Tommy's going to take all the awesome movies for his 5 and leave me the scraps. And I'm just going to look like the biggest barnyard mark. But I can live with it because you know what? I can find a silver lining in most most films, right?
I was trying to go
Not
for
really.
different ones.
There's a couple of here that probably shouldn't make my
Dude,
list.
I was
but
trying to
it's
go
okay.
for different
I'll-
movies. You clearly didn't look that deep into what movies are coming out this year. But we're going to say 5 movies each that we're excited for this year. Coming out slated to come out in 2022 at least.
And not in any order, correct? Because I didn't put them in order,
me neither.
so.
I didn't either.
Okay,
all right.
sweet.
Do you want to hit me with your first movie? What we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about the movie, when it's supposed to come out, perhaps touch on the director and the stars, what's going to happen in
People's
the movie,
in it.
and why we're excited.
Why you're stoked?
Why you're stoked for this movie, bro? Pew, pew, pew.
Thor: Love and Thunder.
Strong start.
Is on my list. And this is like a legitimate one that should be on my list
time.
anyway, not like a Tommy reject movie.
When is this coming out?
The overview, well, it's July 8th, actually. I think it does have a release date, July 8th, 2022.
God, that's soon.
And the overview is, it's not that far away, man. We honestly don't know much about this movie. We know who's going to be in it, but the plot is very, very, speculative.
Okay.
There's a lot of speculation that, like, what's her name?
Natalie Portman,
who is returning. Yeah, who's returning as Jane Foster, will have a bigger role, and it might lead to a larger role in the franchise in general.
Lady Thor, people are led to believe.
Yes, that is the speculation that she'll pick up. How do you say the hammer? Mjolnir. Mjolnir.
We've been to the restaurant enough times. You should be able to say it by now.
Only once. The director is I'm gonna butcher it. Taika Waititi,
man. How do you not know that by now?
Taika Waititi. I just don't know how to say his name, man. I know that he directed the last Thor, which we all loved, and Jojo Rabbit. That's kind of his big 2 claims to fame. Right?
I was going to ask, have you seen any of his other stuff?
No, I haven't seen any of his other stuff. At least those are the 2 that I know him of. So if there was other stuff that he's done that I have seen, you can let me know.
No. I mean, he did a bunch of like deep indie stuff prior to like some of the obviously the bigger Marvel movies. What We Do in the Shadows was a fantastic indie vampire comedy movie that's just hilarious, and he did like a bunch of
no, I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's very funny. He did stuff for like the TV show as well. There's one that's out on Netflix at the moment that I've been trying to watch and haven't got around to yet, which is called Boy, and it's about a kid in New Zealand, and he believes all this stuff about his dad and how it might not be quite true. His dad's been sort of bending the truth, shall we say. So I'm excited to watch. Yeah, I'm excited to catch up on a lot of his stuff, to be perfectly honest.
Oh, did he do Free Guy? Oh no, he was
in it. He was the boss of the gaming company, I think.
Yeah. I actually never finished that movie.
For the best. There's like one cameo that's worth watching.
Anyway, the reason I'm stoked on this is because Thor Ragnarok was so good. Same director. Here's to hoping they continue that style. You get the return of Natalie Portman. Plus, it's rumored that we're getting some Guardians of the Galaxy action. Those crossovers were so good in the Avenger movie, and really the last Thor movie where we got a little bit of it too.
So the scoop that we never had. We were supposed to have a scoop for this show weeks before anyone else knew about this, and I just forgot to tell you. Back in early 2021 was that that I have a friend of a friend who works at Fox Studios, which is obviously now part of Disney, and they were filming Thor: Love and Thunder there beginning of 2021, and he had to recreate parts of the Milano, which is the Guardians of the Galaxy ship, for that process, and I just forgot to tell you. And then by the time I remembered, everyone else knew about it.
Now it's common knowledge. Your one chance is over with, Thomas.
Oh no, we had it. It was right there.
What I will say is there are like IMDb is doing a bit of spoilers here. Do you want to know?
Not. I don't want to know anything.
The
Don't
casting.
I know Christian Bale's playing Gore the God Butcher.
It's not plot. Yeah, we've talked about that. So that's another reason why I'm super stoked, because this dude's name is Gore the God Butcher, and it's Christian Bale. So obviously it's gonna be fucking sick.
I want to read that comic run.
Yeah, I probably won't do that, but I'm just excited for Christian Bale and that badass name. Another reason why I'm kind of excited, small chance Loki might show up, given this is post Loki, the show. Like, you never know. Some little some little
I think
version of him,
he's going to show up in one of mine that
perhaps?
we're going to talk about in just a minute. Maybe more so than this one, but it's such an exciting cast, man. Like I can see why you're pumped for this.
There's 2 cast members that are on IMDb, and that was
Well,
what I was going to say as the spoiler. That I was like, oh, what? I wish I didn't know.
Well, don't tell me. I don't want to know either. I will look at IMDb when we're doing our breakdown of it in June. You said it was out?
Yeah, July. Anyway, what's your first one?
Well, my first one, and I've tried to steer away from doing just all the same stuff we would normally talk about, but I do veer into it a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. My first one. Yeah, I know.
You did
I
not
tried
do
so
that at
hard,
all.
but I was gonna say we should do 3 movies each, but then it just didn't happen. My first one is obviously The Batman, which I said a couple of weeks ago, like I was more excited for than Far From Home. Is that right? No Way Home. I was more excited at the time for No Way Home. It's coming out March 4. I wonder if they're gonna stick to that, because there was a lot of problems with shooting and people getting COVID and stuff. But at the minute they're sticking to March 4. It's Matt Reeves directing. I mean, just the trailers for this look phenomenal.
The second trailer got me
I've
way
stopped
more
watching
excited
trailers
for
now.
this.
I'm like, you know what? Like, I just want to see how it goes. I want to see Jeffrey Wright in this. I think him as I think he's Commissioner Gordon. He'll be Police Chief Gordon at this point. Is going to be amazing. I love the look of Colin Farrell as the Penguin. Like, he just does everything. I love how he's trying to do weird movies now. The only thing I'm not 100% sure on is Andy Serkis as Alfred.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. Couldn't say for the Alfred. We'll see. But I'm interested. Like I'm excited to see this Commissioner Gordon. But don't you think that accent is a bit weird for
He's the
Batman?
Watcher now.
Like, it's a thick accent.
Yeah,
like, it's not
I
an
know.
American one either. Like,
He's the Watcher now. So now that's all I can think about when I see him. I'm like, you did Marvel's What If now. I love him, man. Everything he does.
Yeah.
You know, Jeffrey Wright from Westworld. Westworld is the first thing I really paid attention to him in, and he is so good in that. And everything since.
Oh, sorry. No, I'm not thinking about. I forgot. No, not his accent. I'm mixing him up with the guy that plays the Wakanda villain.
Yeah, Andy Serkis. He's playing Alfred.
Yeah. Oh, that's who's playing Alfred. Sorry, I misheard you.
No, that's the one thing about this movie. I'm like, I'm not 100% sure, but like, he's great. Like, I mean, like, he's good in everything I've seen him in.
But the accent thing now
Yeah.
makes sense.
I'm not 100%.
So I just had a moment.
yeah, yeah. I'm like, who are you talking about? The thing that I'm most excited about this movie, to be perfectly honest with you, is like I was looking before, and the budget for this, for like especially a Batman film and like a superhero movie in general these days, it's only $100 million, and like obviously that's a lot of money to any real person. But for a movie like this with so many stars and such, like, that isn't huge, and it kind of makes me feel like perhaps you watch the trailers, maybe they're going for more of a horror element to this. And if they went for that Blumhouse cheaper horror, you know, like, I mean, it's not quite your 40 million. Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
detective.
If it goes for that, and it's more
Yeah.
stripped back, I think that's going to make it a better movie.
I agree with you. I think that, and didn't you say that that's what they're kind of inspired by for this run is those detective style Batman runs?
Apparently so, yeah. The year 2 of Batman, where he's detecting and he's learning how to be Batman. I think, I think this is supposed to be leading to a trilogy, and it could be as good as the Dark Knight trilogy. I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna throw it out there.
I mean, don't get crazy. Don't get crazy with your words.
I'm gonna throw it out there. I'm excited.
So you think it could be better than the Dark Knight? You're being serious?
Look, I don't think better. I think it's certainly gonna be.
Look at this hype train you've got going.
I'm genuinely really excited for this movie. We've talked about Patton Bat a bunch of times. I think he's going to be great in this. Yeah, I like the cast. I like the director. Like, there's just nothing in this that says to me this isn't going to be great.
Fair enough, man.
So what's your second movie?
Have you heard of Ambulance?
I have not.
So this is I think it's out. I don't think it has a date actually. But it's 2022 at some point. The overview. Needing money to cover his wife's medical bills, a decorated veteran teams up with his adoptive brother to steal $32 million from a Los Angeles bank.
Ooh.
However, when their getaway goes spectacularly wrong, the desperate thieves hijack an ambulance that's carrying a severely wounded cop and an EMT worker. Caught in a high-speed chase, the two siblings must figure out a way to outrun the law while keeping their hostages alive. Now,
who's in this?
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Ooh.
Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, a.k.a.
Yeah.
The Matrix, Aquaman, Watchmen.
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah,
he
yeah.
plays,
He
what's
plays
the guy in Watchmen, the
Mr.
crazy...
Blue with his dick out, yeah.
Yeah. Big
Dr.
blue dick.
Manhattan.
So they're both in it. Then there's an actress that I don't know in it as well. She looked good in the trailer. But the reason I'm excited for this is Jake Gyllenhaal is doing a movie that Michael Bay is directing.
Michael Bay's directing this.
Yeah, well, how weird is that? And he got these two guys. So I'm like, sure, maybe he's just not going to blow things up, and that's not going to be it. Like there might be some character stuff. I mean, if Jake Gyllenhaal's doing it, it looks kind of like Heat mixed with Collateral. Do you remember that movie with Tom Cruise?
Yeah,
Collateral.
I do.
And Jamie Foxx.
That's interesting. So is it got sort of some, not a spy, but like thriller elements to it as well?
It's got. I mean, it just looks like a heist movie mixed with like that tension of a Collateral style drama. I don't know if it's going to be as thriller-y, but
I feel like Jake Gyllenhaal's bigger than this now. Is that a weird thing to say?
Well, that's my point. Like, either maybe he had a miss, or, them boys are so hot right now, they're just taking whatever they want because those guys are in every single movie.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
look, it looked great. It looked pretty intense. I was excited about it. I was kind of reaching here because you took all the good ones. But
no, I mean, I think that's interesting, man. Like, I'd love to see Michael Bay do something that isn't, like pew pew pew, pow pow pow.
I mean, there were some explosions in it.
I feel like a Michael Bay script. Yeah, literally just says like hot girl bends over a car, gunfight, pew pew pew, pow pow pow, and that's just the script, and then they just fill in the blanks on the day.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, there was a couple big ones. But anyway, what's your next one?
Yeah, well, my second one is a bit random, and you may have to forgive me for this, but I am genuinely. This is a story I heard about many years ago, and honestly thought it was like a old wives' tale. But the movie itself is going to be, and forgive me if I'm not 100% au fait with this story, but the movie itself is called Cocaine Bear. And
yeah, I was excited to hear about this one because I have no idea what the fuck this is.
Oh my god, it's so interesting. So it's going to be directed by Elizabeth Banks, who I'm not going to lie, she's not my favorite director, but give her a chance. It's got a pretty cool cast, including Tommen from Game of Thrones and Ray Liotta's in this. But this film is based on a real life story. I'm going to put in quotation marks because, like I said, I thought it was an old wife tale, but apparently it's real. On a 175-pound American black bear that died after ingesting a duffel bag full of cocaine. And
they're making a movie about this.
Yeah, the idea was that the cocaine was dropped from an airplane by a former narcotics officer, and he was at the time smuggling drugs, and his plane was carrying it was too heavy and it was going down, and he just dropped this to try to come back and pick it up later, and the bear found it and ate the whole 40 plastic containers and died. And like, for the first 5 minutes, that bear was the strongest, fastest, happiest bear of all time.
I thought this was a meme.
Me too.
Wasn't this a meme?
Me too.
It was a meme.
I'm pretty sure it was, but like that. I mean,
I remember seeing a meme about like a bear that ate a bunch of cocaine, and it was like, this would have been the most lit bear attack ever. For like in between the 10 minutes when it consumed this, and like if you'd have ran into this bear, you'd be between that and when he OD'd, you'd be dead. Like,
great. It's gonna if that's not a comedy, like I'm not sure I'm gonna be that into it, but that could be absolutely hilarious. Like, it could be terrible, but it's a great premise.
It's a pretty random choice, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
You went out of the box.
I tried my hardest. What's your third one?
Is there anyone I would know in it? Is anyone directing it?
No, like I say, it's Tommen. Like I mentioned, Tommen from Game of Thrones is in it.
Oh yeah, you did mention.
Yeah, I mean,
Tom.
I don't know.
Tommen.
No, not Tommen. He's the bear. Go on, what's your third one?
My third one is my also like kind of random one. It's called Black Glasses. Have you heard of this? It's out sometime in 2022. It doesn't have a release date yet.
What is it?
No. It's a French-Italian thriller film about a serial killer nicknamed the Cellist stalking a blind high-class call girl who has kind of befriended this little Asian boy.
What?
And it was so absurd. And the reason I'm excited, the guy's name is Dario Argentine. He's famous for this other kind of like indie horror thriller called Suspiria. Oh,
I've heard of that.
I haven't seen it, but like I was looking up like kind of indie horror flicks because I was like, I kind of want to watch one of those, like the Following or something like that. thinking about it, and this one came up. The people it's starring, like I didn't know them. You might. They're Italian and like original. They're native Italian, so they're from Italy.
Sure.
But why I'm excited? It's like a horror mystery thriller with serial killers and a blind hooker who like befriends this Asian boy bromance, and he kind of looks out for her. Set in Italy, like it's just so absurd and weird that I'm like, I'm down. Like
the premise is
anyway,
like out there for that, man. Like, is it an action? Is it a thrill? Like, what's the go there?
I think it's like a character film that has a thriller element,
Oh,
like because
man.
you're following like a call woman who's blind, but like obviously beautiful. And she's like needs someone to look out for her, and she befriends this guy, and he looks out for her while a serial killer's chasing.
When you say
her. It's just-
Asian boy, do you mean like a child?
yeah, like I'm pretty sure it's a child.
The child's got to
There's
look
no
out
trailer.
for her.
All I could see was the description.
Look out for her, literally.
It's not a child, but like an adolescent, not like a baby. Not like a toddler. It's like an adolescent. I used child's the wrong word.
I'm like, what is this little 4-year-old running around looking out for? Like he doesn't.
No, it's like a bromance, you know. It's like he's too young to actually be like attracted to her, so she can actually trust him. Kind of
Interesting.
dynamic.
That actually sounds pretty cool.
Anyway, it's a random one.
I'm intrigued by that, man.
It's
Like,
not as random as Cocaine Bear,
no,
though.
I mean, I'm glad we got our random ones out in the middle. Like that's good. So it's a good start.
Yeah.
Anyway, my third one is, and I hadn't actually heard about this until just the other day. Funnily enough, is The Northman.
Really, I've been excited for this one.
Have you? I only really heard about it recently, and it looks so good. It's coming out 22nd of April. Robert Eggers, who is known for Lighthouse, which you've talked about a couple of times with Robert Pattinson, and
Mate.
Witch, both critically acclaimed movies, is directing it. It's got Alexander Skarsgård, I'm never going to say his name right, Anya Taylor-Joy, Nicole Kidman, Willem Dafoe, Ethan Hawke. It's got the Mountain from Game of Thrones. Like, what more do you need to know? Like that,
Dude, it's the same studio that's doing all these dope films. The Green Knight, they're doing
Yeah.
this. This is how I heard about it.
Oh,
Because
right.
I was like literally every good movie, the new Macbeth,
I nearly talked
the
about
King, all these movies are made by the studio.
that. Wow, that's awesome.
I'm pretty impressed with them.
Well, look-
so I'm excited for this one
Yeah,
too.
this
It looks really
this
good.
sounds phenomenal. Basically, I mean, like the trailer itself. Like, I don't know if you've seen the trailer or watched it
It's
recently.
pretty intense.
But like, it's
Yeah.
just. Well, I thought when I first watched it, I was like, oh, that's kind of brutal. That doesn't look that interesting. But then when I really paid attention to it, like the art style is really interesting. It's frenetic. It's got like the trailer itself's almost got like a multi-personality disorder. It's just like, it's like, who's talking? What's happening? It's so interesting. And it's basically set in Iceland in the 10th century, and it follows a Nordic prince who's trying to get revenge. I think it's his father who gets killed early on in the trailer.
It's kind of like The Lion King.
Yeah.
Gruesome.
Oh, is it his uncle? Is that
Viking.
what it is?
Like, that's what it seems like. The plot. It's like the brother kills the,
Interesting. How shredded is
The
Alexander
uncle.
Skarsgård, by the way?
Yeah. He's
He's
pretty shredded.
jacked in
I mean,
this.
I wouldn't want to mess with him.
Oh my god.
It just seems like Game of Thrones, but the North only. Like that's what this movie is. It's like a revenge plot set in the North.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that's what I want to see. Like
Yeah.
that's all I cared
Same.
about.
I'm about it,
I'm
bro.
so down. I quite like the cast as
Yeah.
well. Like, I'm intrigued by, you know what, anything Willem Dafoe's in at the moment is, except for maybe one that I'm going to put in my dishonorable mentions, is probably going to be good. Like, he's just like, you forget how good actor he is.
Yeah, no, he is. He's a phenomenal actor. Everything he's in, I'm about. So we're agreeing too much. We're agreeing too much.
When did you hear about The Northman?
I heard about it probably when I was back in the States.
Oh, really?
And I was watching The Green Knight, and I was like, man, this studio. And then my brother was telling me about the studio, and I was looking up all the stuff they have coming out and saw the trailer. And was pretty
Interesting.
jazzed on it.
Because I've watched the trailer for
Yeah.
Macbeth like 1,000 times. I mean, admittedly, half of them because it keeps coming up on my Instagram repeatedly as like a trailer.
Dude, what is up with Instagram just throwing this in our face?
Oh my god!
I agree. I keep seeing
We
it.
talk
on
about it
Instagram.
once on the
Like,
podcast.
Yeah, seriously. Fucking algorithms. I'm excited to watch that one. Are you like super familiar with Macbeth?
So so I actually genuinely quite like the story of Macbeth, but we had to do it in high school, so I'm a little bit burnt by it.
Same. Well, I feel like I'm long enough removed from high school now that I can revisit it, but I also had to do like some big thing. It's one of those things where like I had to do this massive summer project on it in high school.
Right.
And for my AP class, and I crammed so hard. I literally remember nothing. Like, you know when you like cram so hard to get it done? Like, I procrastinated so much that like I retained none of what I did. So I'm actually kind of rewatching it like fresh, or seeing it fresh.
I really wanted to watch the not James McAvoy, who's I really wanted to watch the Michael Fassbender version of it because that looked amazing, and I just never got around to it. It's one of those movies that it's been like on a list forever.
How long has that been out? That's been out a while, isn't it?
Years. Like we're talking 3-4 years maybe.
Yeah.
And when I say a list, I don't mean Michael Fassbender's been around children. I mean it's on my Netflix list. But like it's the case if it's one of those things whereby I just know like that genre so well. I'm not sure I can really go back dive back headfirst so soon, but this movie could be the one.
Yeah, no, that's fair. No, I'm agreeing with you there. Northman looks good.
What's your fourth movie?
Moving on to, we're getting to the bargain bin here with Jurassic Park Dominion. Ooh, yeah, stinky, isn't it? Like T-Rex poo.
I'm surprised you went for this over like a Lightyear, for example.
That was literally the two that I was debating. You gave me the fucking bottom of the barrel.
I would have gone Lightyear. I was close to putting it on there.
I was like Lightyear or Jurassic Park, and okay, why I'm excited. Let me just jump. Well, I'll go to the other stuff first. Plot kept under wraps, but it's fair to assume there will be dinosaurs that are chasing
in
people.
the city as well. They broke off the island last time.
That are getting eaten. Yes, and anyway, so its release is June 2022. The director is the same dude that did the first one, Colin Trevorrow. I don't know if he did the second. Yeah, I don't know if he did the second one, but he also wrote The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, he's failed up in Hollywood, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's weird when that happens.
Happens a lot.
And why I'm excited. Starring Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt.
Yep.
Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum, Sam Neill, Bryce Dallas Howard. So basically everyone in the old trilogy and everyone in the new.
It's bringing them back.
They're all in this movie. Yeah.
I did not know that.
I mean, if I was going to, including the chick that famously ran in high heels from a T-Rex in the original Jurassic World.
I didn't know he's bringing Laura Dern back. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Right, going back to one of our favorite segments, one of our previous winners, by the way, Goofy's IMDb pick. It's all about Jeff. Like Jeff just.
Well, I mean, yeah.
What an absolute legend.
I think Rasta Jeff.
Oh, amazing. No, he's got like the cat jumper on. Do you not remember the cat jumper?
Oh, it's a cat. You're right. It's like very psychedelic.
It's such a good picture. Sorry, I keep
interrupting you. You're a bit grainy on the FaceTime. No, it's okay. I guess like if I was gonna be into another Jurassic Park, you'd have to have all of those people in it. So there's that, and there's the fact that in the trailer, the dinosaurs finally are starting to look more like what we actually know dinosaurs to look like.
You mean they've got feathers?
They got like feathers, like they've got like weird fur. It's not as much as it should be, but I was like, okay, finally you're doing a realistic rendition. I applaud that. So that's where we're at with number 4 for me. How about you?
Can I be perfectly honest with you? I didn't watch the second one.
I like slept through it. Gail watched it. It was so bad.
It's not.
It was like a genetically engineered dinosaur or something.
Yes. I mean, the first one was that.
It was. Well, I think they did the same thing in the second one.
I mean, I'm just thinking if you're going for an action movie for your fourth pick, there's so many good choices coming out. The new Mission Impossible. Just thinking of Tom Cruise movies in general. I'm just so tired
of Mission Impossible.
Top Gun's coming out.
I'm just tired of Tom Cruise, dude. I saw all those, and I was like, no, nix. It's like, dude, can you just age already?
Dude,
stop drinking the blood of like virgins.
Crazy artistic way.
Dinosaurs, man.
Dinosaurs. I'll give you that. Fair enough.
All right. Never forget.
All right, my fourth one is probably up there with my top most excited for the year. Literally, not aside from this, is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1, which
who could have guessed this?
Oh my days! You know how much I love this. Was actually our first real version of Podcast Assemble when we talked about Into the Spider-Verse.
Was it?
Yeah, it was
I don't remember.
It was technically number 6, but for the real ones,
I remember doing it. I thought it was later than that, but you're right.
No, I think it was our first one. And yeah, this coming out October 7, 22. Director Justin K. Thompson's coming back with a couple of other people. So Kemp Powers, who was involved in the Disney movie Soul, is going to be in this. That he could be really interesting. All the voice cast is coming back. I'm super pumped to have more Oscar Isaac. Put him in everything. Put him in my veins. Get everything in the air. Bring him back in Dune, please.
It's
do
not
Dune
even
Part
him, but
2.
I like that.
Yeah, it's not him.
Yeah.
It's not him. It just reminds me of that. You know what? We don't know anything about this yet. I think I'm just pumped because the first movie was just so good.
You mean the Oscar award-winning Spider-Man movie?
Funnily enough, yes.
Was
But
it?
you
No,
know that's one of my
it was.
faves. I actually rewatched the first one fairly recently, just before I flew back home, and every time I watch it, I get engrossed in the same things. Like the animation style, they patented it for themselves. It's everything about it. Like I feel like the characters are so compelling. I think Peter B. Parker's coming back as well, who's actually probably going to be in Jurassic World as well. I've forgotten his name, the guy from New Girl. Everything about it, man. It's just comedy. It touches in all the right places. It's great. I'm excited to see what Spider-Man 2099 is going to do in this.
I'm also excited, which is like kind of weird to me because I'm like, how can I be still excited for Spider-Man movies when we've got like two that just, we just saw this one that had all three Spider-Mans in it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
how can I still be amped?
Well, you know what it
But
is?
I
It's because
am-
all the Sony ones suck.
Yeah. I don't know. I just thought
Yep.
I am excited. My fifth one is probably my actually like most excitable or anticipated. It's called Killers of the Flower Moon.
Okay.
This is an upcoming Western crime drama. Of course, it is a
Western,
Western.
of
course. Directed by Martin Scorsese.
Ooh.
Based off of the book of the same name, a nonfiction book that follows members of the Asagi tribe or Asagi tribe, I'm not sure how to say that, in the United States, who are murdered under mysterious circumstances in the 1920s, sparking a major FBI investigation involving J. Edgar Hoover, I should say. Released sometime 2022. Why I'm excited, right? Like if it wasn't, a Western kind of mystery novel, if that wasn't enough for you to realize why I'm excited about it, Leo and De Niro are in it, and it's the first time they're playing together in a Scorsese film. So
interesting.
It's got everything for
This
me,
is
right.
This is basically someone's got
enough
like
said.
a Dre bingo card, and they've just checked off a line and gone bingo.
Yeah. It was it's so true. It's like if you could pick all the things I like, put them in there.
Yeah,
You're missing like basically just some kind of quasi meta philosophical thing, and
With Scorsese, of course.
other than that, it'd be
They've
all
just
these
chucked
things,
him in a
so,
cocktail mixer,
I'm
and
pretty
just shaking
stoked
it
on
on the side, and just gone. Dre's movie, it's here.
Yeah.
When does that come out?
I'm excited about it. They haven't released a date.
Okay,
Sometime
okay.
2022.
Is it coming to streaming or
It's
is it going to
post-production.
cinemas?
I don't know. Does he have like a Netflix deal or something? I didn't read anything to say that it was gonna be just streaming.
No, because I just remember The Irishman came out Netflix, didn't it? So I wonder if that was just a one-off. But like
Might have been
that's
a one-off,
so
yeah.
you, man. Like a western. Like what more do you want?
Western crime drama
Scorsese.
directed by Martin Scorsese, starring Leo and fucking De Niro.
And fucking
Yeah,
De
I mean,
Niro.
it's pretty dope.
Wow, that's going to be an interesting movie. I'm excited. That sounds great, man. I'm
Yeah.
excited for you. We should go to the actual cinema and actually put some money into cinemas that isn't on a Spider-Man movie.
I am in.
All right,
I abide.
my fifth one. I think this is the one you were gutted that I took off your hands. To be perfectly honest, is Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, really unfair because I've been talking about this one for the longest time. It's like this has been my Marvel movie I'm stoked for like as soon as they announced it, which was a long fucking time ago.
I think the hype's building. We can both talk about this on perfectly honest. I think the hype's been building for this, especially since. Well, I mean, I think Loki really kicked off the hype for the multiverse stuff, but Spider-Man's done a lot for it, and this is where it's going to go absolutely batshit crazy. It's coming out on the 6th of May.
I think the what if thing also
Yeah, sure.
pumped this, like the what if with
Dark Doctor Strange. Yeah, I mean,
Doctor Strange. Yeah,
I think that's the name of the movie.
yeah.
But that's one of the things I'm most excited for about this movie. So just quickly, skipping past a couple of bits, the Dark Doctor Strange is going to be appearing in this. We've seen him he is in the trailer, and genuinely can't wait to see that. If there's anyone who can, hold a movie up on his own shoulders doing more than one part, it's Benedict Cumberbatch. He's got so many credits of doing multiple parts in movies. But there's so many things to be excited about for this movie. Like, Elizabeth Olsen is going to be coming back as Wanda. Chiwetel Ejiofor is going to be Mordo again. It's just continuing that multiverse shattering shenanigans, which is a hard thing to say. But it's also got Sam Raimi as the director, who has got a really solid background in horror, and I've just got a feeling this is going to lean into those horror origins for him, and I'm excited.
You saw the trailer, but have you seen it since we saw it in the theaters?
I haven't. I've held off.
Dude, there's some like really cool like organ soundtrack in the background that makes me
Okay.
think your like horror vibe is gonna be spot on.
Okay.
It's like this crazy organ theme.
Well, we talked about Evil Doctor Strange for a second there, but like, what do you think Wanda's role is going to be? Do you reckon she'll be a hero? Do you reckon she'll be a villain? Somewhere in the middle?
Hopefully gray. I'd prefer if it wasn't so binary.
I like the idea that she comes in as a villain and eventually has to turn around and be a good guy.
Yeah. I mean, like, I like the fact that she may have to like make hard decisions. Like, if the multiverse exists, that could mean like Vision could exist again, and like,
Maybe that's why she's
I would
in
like
it.
them to dig into that.
Yeah, maybe that's why
Or
she's
her
there.
brother or whatever.
It's got so much potential, man. Like, I would love it if she becomes the next big villain of the piece. And I've talked before, I don't know how much you know about this spoiler-wise, but there's a lot of, I'm not going to say anything, there's a lot of rumors about people who are going to appear from maybe other franchises, or in a similar way to, the No Way Home sort of appearances. Are there other areas that could come into this, peoples who we don't expect? And I just think there's so much potential. You could bring him from anywhere. You could kill universes. You could bring universes together. You could do whatever you want. You could bring Miles Morales into the universe, and that's all I want.
I mean, they're gonna this will kick it into like the new phase. Like, I know that we've already started it, but this will kick into like the next. This will be, I think, the big movie that is before the Avengers style movie.
Interesting. You think? I think there's gonna be a lot more.
Well, I just think it's gonna. I think it's gonna like set off a chain of events that creates the next Avengers style film where all the heroes are together.
Okay.
You know?
Oh, this is gonna be the beginning of. I got it. Yeah, that's a good point. I like that. Look,
Yeah.
The one thing I'm mostly interested in about this movie is the fact that Wong will be coming back. Other than that, I don't care. I just want more Wong in all my movies.
I just think that evil Doctor Strange
Wong.
looks so badass.
Yeah, it's gonna be so cool, man. Like,
He looks so badass.
I'd love it if they did like a flip on it. So you clearly think that evil Doctor Strange is going to be a antagonist in this, but imagine if he has to team up with him to take on Wanda because Wanda's so powerful. Like, that would be amazing.
Oh, that's like totally them too. They would subvert that shit.
Oh, Marvel.
Subvert your expectations. Lead you along with the trailer. Have it be the opposite.
I read a quote today from Ben Affleck who said something along the lines of, if in the future the cinema is only going to be for huge franchises such as Marvel and DC, and everything else is going to go to streaming, and I can kind of believe that. Like,
oh,
that's where all the
so
money's
much
coming
sense.
from.
Well, it's also where all the all the good character shit usually is streaming. Like,
True.
character-driven stories these days. There's not as much of that in films.
It's very true. I'm trying to think of a good character piece that I went to see in the cinema recently, and I'm really struggling.
Yeah, it's fair.
It's tough. Well, that wraps it up pretty much for our most exciting moves of 2022. I have one dishonorable mention, if you wouldn't mind.
I will do the same.
You go for your dishonorable mention first. See if it's the same
My
one.
dishonorable mention is Avatar 2.
Ah, okay.
I was going to put this on as like, I was like, oh, maybe this will be better than Jurassic Park or whatever.
Jurassic
World. Then I read the synopsis. It's the same exact fucking movie.
Yep, same movie.
There's nothing different. The only thing in the synopsis that is different is, what's his name? Private Jake, whatever. I forget his name. Is living peacefully with his family on the planet. What is it called again? I'm just
The planet
blanking here.
Avatar.
planet blue guys, and and then an arch nemesis from his past comes to finish the job. I'm like, okay, so you're literally just doing the same thing twice.
So is it the old guy who died in the first one?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like someone from his past comes back to finish the job. It just seems like it's a rehash.
Yeah, that wasn't the one I was going
Disappointing.
to go for, but I feel like they've been trying to get that off the ground for so long. And James Cameron can do basically whatever he wants these days.
Is it actually coming out though? Because they've been saying this movie. This was on our list for last year.
Well, that's been pushed back and pushed back, but apparently they're filming. I think it's 2, 3, 4, and maybe 5 all at the same time. So who knows? They're going to do their best to push this.
How many stories can you tell?
But my dishonorable mention, Dre, I think you'll like this one. Is apparently it's set for release date on the 16th of December. And director James Wan is back along with his huge cast, including, you'll know it as soon as I say it, Jason Momoa, Amber Heard, Willem Dafoe. The one movie he's not going to be good in, and Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, is Aquaman 2, The Lost Kingdom. I mean, I couldn't be less excited for this movie.
Yeah, I saw this. I was going to put it on, and I was like, no. I was more excited for Jackass Forever than this.
I have a question for you, a serious question.
Yeah.
Do you think Aquaman 2, The Lost Kingdom is going to be better or worse than Aquaman?
I've had a lot of time. You'd hope it'd be better.
Oh, man. Well, the way they're hyping this up, they're saying it's going to be a more mature movie, but keep all the same. I'm like, dude, it's like, just chill out.
Yeah, I don't care. That's the funny part. I just don't care.
I couldn't care any less.
Do not care.
Thank you for sticking with it. That was our slightly more rambling this time.
It's been a while.
Look into some of the upcoming movies of 2022. It's been a little while. Stick with us. We appreciate it.
Sea legs.
We do. We have a little bit of correspondence this week. Shall we jump into correspondence?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Excellent. Well, first and foremost, we had a couple of bits of correspondence I've already mentioned. Thank you, friend of the show, Jacob, for messaging in before. Thank you, friend of the show, Gail, who sent in a piece, an article, and it was saying that people are saying No Way Home might be Marvel's best ever film. And we kind of touched on that last week. How do you feel about that?
I kind of agree. It's up there. It's top 3.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty.
I mean, at that point, it gets subjective, right? But like, it's top 3.
It's got to be up there. I think we sort of. I said it was my top 5. I think you said top 3.
Yeah, it's top 3 for me.
And on that note, speaking of, a friend of the show, Ollie, messaged in and mentioned that there are a lot of nods to X-Men 1 in that final fight where they're fighting on top of the Statue of Liberty. You remember in the beginning of X-Men 1 with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, they're also fighting on top of the Statue of Liberty, and there's a bunch of nods in the purple sky, apparently, to X-Men potential crossovers, which I find super interesting.
You mean there's a bunch of people in the sky that look like X-Men, or just the images?
Well, that's what the apparent article he sent over says. So,
okay.
I mean, I saw a few, so I've seen a couple of bits on it since. So Kraven the Hunter looks like it's in there, a version of the Scorpion, a version of the Rhino, and a version of maybe one of the Spider-Man suits that has the extra mechanical arms. So there's a lot in there. So there could be a lot of hidden Easter eggs that we just haven't seen yet. And that's actually coming to streaming in March, by the way.
Exciting. I think I'm going to make my missus watch the Spider-Man trilogy. This one. I'm not going to force her to go through Garfield. But
well, interestingly, I was going to sit and watch the Spider-Man Far From Home with the partner prior to going and watching this one. However, it wasn't actually on any of the streaming services. They removed off all of them the couple of weeks before Spider-Man.
It feels like it's all on there now, though. It's like
it is
on
there.
You can find it everywhere now.
Like, yeah. Because I downloaded it for the flight home and never got around to it, and I'll talk about that in just a sec. But two last bits of correspondence. Friend of the show, Steve, messaged in. Thank you, friend of the show, Steve. I actually sent this over to you, Jay, because this is super cool. It's a 45-second, well, not really a trailer. It's just a 45-second showcase, basically, of Resident Evil-like game starring Leon S. Kennedy, but using the Unreal 5 engine. And I'm not sure if you got to watch this, but wow, those graphics are good.
Was that the... I don't think it was Resident Evil, was it? It was like a different game.
No. It was like, but it was having Leon Kennedy, the guy who's one of the main.
Oh, you're right. It's the same.
Resident
It's the same voice. Yeah. Sorry, I misheard you.
Same voice.
No, that looked so cool.
Those graphics,
that was so up my alley.
Upcoming games.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, spot on, man. It was. I was excited.
We haven't talked about games in a little while. I feel like it's time we brought it back.
Dude, I've been playing so much Infinite.
Have you? Halo.
Yeah, I'm about to beat it, and then I'll play the online as well again. It's very good. I'm a fan.
Nice. Well, coming back, I've unfortunately had to leave a lot of my stuff behind. I actually brought my Switch. I've got a game, I think it's called Chronicle. I've been meaning to play for a little while on there, but I also realized that you can get The Witcher 3 for Switch, so I'm very, very, very tempted to get hold of it and just play Witcher 3 on my Switch.
That's bad. I don't know about that move. Witcher 3
Why?
is like I don't know if it's a Switch style game. Why don't you just get it for your PS whatever?
Well, I don't have it over here. That's what I'm saying to you. I had to leave my PS5.
Oh,
back
you
in
mean
Australia.
while you're in England? Sorry.
Yeah, to fill the time.
My headphones are not loud enough. I think this is, or I'm hard of
Okay.
hearing.
I think you're going deaf. And the final bit of correspondence then. Speaking of my flight back to the UK, I wanted to give a special shout out to a friend of the show, Harry, who actually made my 16-hour flight from Sydney to Dubai slightly manageable by sitting and effectively talking about Marvel, the MCU, for probably 4 of those hours.
Oh, good
which
shout out.
didn't-
Thanks, Harry.
Which was great. Yeah, we had we were basically on a 3-seater, and it was just the two of us. Somehow, by some sheer luck, we managed to get a bit of space to ourselves. And quick conversation quickly turned to the MCU and talking about, a bit of Podcast Assemble and what we're about over here. And yeah, thank you for keeping it fresh for me, mate, and keeping me sane, because geez, that flight is a long flight.
Yeah, it is. It's a long one.
Well, thank you all for sticking with it. We do appreciate it. If you want to get in touch, where can they find us?
You can find us at the Podcast Assemble at gmail.com or Podcast Assemble on Instagram.
That's it. That's where we're at. Do we have any other plugs that we normally say?
I don't know, man. I think that there's something like tell you or something like that, but other than that, no.
It's been a while. I'm not entirely sure. Look, if you like what you're hearing, maybe give us a 5-star review on your favorite platform. I know people don't do that very often, but
Give us a review. You don't have to demand a 5-star. It sometimes it can be a 1. Extremes. We live in an era of extremes.
well, it helps. If you give us a 5-star review, you're more likely to get read out.
Anyway, guys, thanks.
All right, guys, thanks for sticking with it. We do appreciate it. Tally ho!